Good morning, everyone. This is Todd Brow with Senior Insurance Marketing, and we're excited to have Corey Jones and Ryan McMillian from Bankers Fidelity with us today, talk about their hot cancer product, a very great cancer product. And without further ado, I'm just going to swing it over to Ryan and Corey and tell us more about the Bankers Fidelity product.
Good afternoon, everybody. This is Ryan McMillian. I'm the VP of Sales for Bankers Fidelity, and also on the line we have Corey Jones. Corey, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, good morning. Thanks, Ryan. Corey Jones, Director of Partner Relations. Looking forward to learning more about the cancer product, and thank you, Senior Insurance Marketing.
All right, I'll jump right in here. So here's the agenda for the day. So what we're going to talk about is just kind of Bankers Fidelity story, how we started, where we come from, where we're at, and who we are. And then we're going to go jump into our lump sum cancer product and get into details about that. And then we'll talk about some different incentives we have out there. And then we'll just do a brief tech overview so you can kind of see what our website looks like, what our e-app looks like, and things like that. So.
All right. Can everybody hear me now? Is that better?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry about that, folks.
Oh, no problem.
Good old technology issues. So here's our Bankers Fidelity story. As you guys can see, we started in 1955. We are headquartered in Atlanta, Georgia. We are rated by AM Best, and then we currently do business in 46 states in a variety of different products. So, and we just launched this. We've been in the Medicare supplement market for over 35 years. I think it's around 37, 38 years we've been in the Medicare supplement market. We initially started as a life insurance company, but we keep adding more and more new products, especially in the last several years. So actually this cancer product is fairly new. We just started launching it in January, and we keep adding some new states. So it's gotten a lot of good feedback, and a lot of people are starting to pick it up and utilize it. So hopefully you'll see a need for it. So this is kind of hard to see, but this is our product portfolio. So this just kind of shows you all the products that we have. So we do have Medicare supplement. We have our Vantage Recovery, which is our short-term care product. We have Vantage Flex, which is our hospital indemnity product. Vantage Care, which is our cancer product. And then we have Final Expense. So today we're just focusing on the cancer policy, but this is just to show you that we do have other products available for you if you're interested. So we're going to jump right into the product here. So as you guys know, cancer is can be a very touchy subject, but it's a very viable subject, right? So everybody out there that's on this phone call or whatnot knows somebody that cancer has touched in their life, right? You know, whether to personally, a family member, a friend, but you've experienced it. You've seen how it's affected people emotionally, financially, and just in their everyday lives. So, you know, it's a very, very important product. A lot of people don't realize that, and more people are starting to sell these products because they do see the need for it. But as you can see with the stats, you know, one out of 2 men, 1 out of 3 women actually can get cancer. Okay, so it is a very, very prominent condition out there. So it's something that does need to take notice of. So this is our availability map. So I'm not sure where the folks on the phone live, but as you can see, we have in the blue shaded areas, you have the approved and released product. And then in the green is just where it's approved. We're getting ready to release in those states. And then the other states, it's filed and hasn't been approved yet. So those should be coming soon, though. So here's our features and benefits of the product. So it has issue ages between the ages of 18 and 99, which is very nice. Benefit amounts between $5,000 and $75,000. And we actually go by $1,000 increments. Most of our competitors go by $5,000 increments. But this way you can actually sell maybe a little bit more benefit if you want to, instead of jumping a whole $5,000, right? You can maybe do $7,000 or you could do $12,000, so on and so forth. So you have a little bit more flexibility. We do have unisex rates, and then there is coverage for individual and spouse, individual and children, and then family. Okay. And then not all benefits and riders is one thing you want to make sure, you know, depending on the state you're in, will determine what benefits and riders are available. So we'll show you what all of them are, but just note that you'll want to check and make sure what's available in your particular state. Another thing is So you'll learn one lump sum. So it's very easy to sell. Okay. Now, those of you on the phone, you might know what Customizable Site2 is, and you might not. So people are always wondering, well, what's that technical term, carcinoma in situ, right? Carcinoma in situ means that the cancer has not metastasized. People go, okay, well, what does metastasize mean? Well, what metastasize means is it has not spread, okay? It hasn't gone to other parts of the body. So to give you a for instance, a lot of your, a lump in the breast, prostate cancers, things like that. The cancer is confined to that specific area, like your prostate, and hasn't spread to anywhere else in your body. That's considered carcinoma in situ, okay? Most plans out there will either pay 25% or they will pay 100% for that particular, condition, okay? With ours, you can choose whenever you're purchasing the policy if you want it to cover you at 25% or 100%. People ask, well, say I have a $10,000 benefit. Why would I not want just the 100%? Well, 100% is good. You get diagnosed with prostate cancer, boom, you get your full benefit amount of your policy, and that's that, right? But some people prefer not to have that. The reason is because usually with carcinoma in situ, the treatment for it is a lot less invasive because it hasn't spread. So there's less, radiation or chemo situation that has to go on, things like that. So the cost is usually a lot less than metastasized cancer. So therefore, they would rather keep their policy in place and just get paid out a small portion to help them out for now, but they still have a large chunk of their benefit amount still sitting in that bucket out there for something that does happen more so down the road. Okay. So with ours, you can actually trying to save on premium. You could pick the 25% because it will save you on premium and things like that. So, or if you want to get more face amount, instead of doing 100%, you could drop it down to 25% and get, instead of 10,000, they might be able to get, 13 or 14,000 based on the savings. So that's just some different ways to look at that. Okay. Also with ours, we have a heart and stroke benefit that you can add on. And it's, it's an add-on benefit. It does, pay out for heart and stroke, which we'll talk about more here. So here's how the heart and stroke benefit looks. So it's between $5,000 and $75,000, but it cannot exceed the lump sum cancer amount. So the cancer amount is kind of like your anchor. That's your main product that you're selling. If you want to add the heart and stroke, great. You can. You just can't sell more of the heart and stroke than the cancer, if that makes sense. So if you have 10,000 cancer, you could do 10,000 of heart and stroke or less. If you have 30,000 cancer, you do 30,000 of heart and stroke or less. Okay. So it just can't be, more than the cancer base amount. And here's how ours works. So it does pay out for different conditions and things like that. So it pays out for, aortic aneurysm, heart attack, heart disease requiring a heart transplant, stroke, and sudden cardiac arrest. It pays out at 100% of whatever benefit amount you chose. Okay. But we also said, you know what, let's have another condition that's not as severe as a heart attack. It's still not great, but it's not as quite as severe. So we put these other conditions in here where it will pay out a portion of your benefit amount. So artery surgery, coronary artery bypass surgery, heart valve replacement repair will pay out 25% of your benefit amount. So if you have a $10,000 policy, we'd pay out $2,500 right now. Your other $7,500 will still sit out there in that bucket. Okay. And then if you had angioplasty or stent, it'd pay out 10% for angioplasty, 15% for a stent. Okay. That's just to help you out if that situation does occur. Now here's some of the optional riders that are available out there. So again, the heart and stroke, which we just spoke about, specified disease, which I'll show you on the next slide, more details. We do have a benefit builder rider, which helps build the amount of your benefit in your policy year over year. Additional occurrence rider. So your additional occurrence rider is a very, very popular rider. It's added on more than 90% of the time because it's pennies on the dollar. So for instance, a 65 to 69-year-old person that has a $10,000 cancer policy, okay, with us that runs about $26.49. Okay, to add the additional occurrence rider, it's $1.60. So it's a very, very low cost rider to add on, and it's good to have that because it allows you to kind of double dip in your policy. What I mean by that is, so say you have a cancer policy and it's a $10,000 policy. You get diagnosed with cancer. Okay. We pay out that $10,000. Your policy's done. Okay. It's gone. You don't have to pay any more premium or anything else. If you had the additional occurrence rider, and you get diagnosed with cancer, we'll pay out if you had a $10,000 policy, we'll pay out your $10,000. And then what happens is once you're in remission, your bucket of money starts to fill back up. Okay, you're continuing to pay your premiums, but your bucket of money starts to fill back up. After 2 years, you have 25% of whatever you selected back in your bucket. After 5 years, you have 75% of that bucket filled back up. After 10 years, it's 100% filled back up. Say you're 5 years in. Okay, you're 5 years into your remission, and all of a sudden the same cancer comes back or different cancer comes back. Okay, we'd pay out whatever amounts in your bucket, pay that out, and then your policy would be done. But for $1.60 a month, that's not a bad benefit to add on, right? So that's just something always to look at. And then we also have a wellness rider that pays for different things from immunizations and flu shots and an assortment of different tests and echocardiograms and different tests, things like that you can get done once a year. So, and with the wellness rider, there's a $25, $50, $75, or $100 benefit you could choose from for very low cost. Here's a specified disease optional benefit. So again, this works kind of like the heart and stroke, where you can pick your benefit amount between $5,000 and $75,000, but it cannot exceed the cancer amount. So again, if you have a $10,000 cancer policy, then you can't go more on the specified disease. Also on the issue ages for the specified disease, it doesn't go to age 99, it stops at 74, but it does cover these extra benefits. So, it's can help out with some other severe conditions there. Here's some of our other optional riders you have. So you have your cancer hospitalization rider. So it pays up to 30 days per confinement a year. If you're hospitalized in the hospital. You can also select the second opinion and travel rider. So you can pick, it gives up to $500 for an additional physician visit when a second opinion is desired. The travel rider also will pay like mileage and things like that if you do have to travel, because as you know, a lot of people might have to travel to go see a particular physician at a facility that they don't maybe live close to. So things like that. There's a cancer and radiation chemotherapy treatment rider. This is a treatment rider, so therefore it pays out based on what services you're having done. So it's, it might pay $100 per day if you're in the hospital, $50 per day for chemotherapy, so on and so forth. But there's a schedule of benefits that it pays off of. Okay, once you select how many units you want and things like that. And then skin cancer. So this is a nice benefit to add on. It's not very expensive to add on, but the thing with cancer plans, right, is if it's melanoma, it's covered under the normal cancer policy, right? But what if it's basal cell, right? No cancer plans out there that you see does it cover basal cell. It won't keep you from getting the cancer policy, but if you get basal cell, it will not pay out if you get it, okay? So we added this rider in here so someone can add it on, and you can pick your benefit amount between $250 and $1,000 towards treatment of non-malignant skin cancer, basal cell cancers, and it's very low cost to add on as well. So how do we sell this product, right? What makes it intriguing? How do I get people to be interested in it? I'm not comfortable talking about cancer, things like that, right? So a lot of agents are constantly asking, how do I sell it? How do I bring it up? Well, the thing is, at first, you need to do a proper needs analysis. And I spelled needs with NEADS, right? What do they have now? What do they enjoy about their current coverage? What would they change if they were able to, okay? And then you give them who's a decision maker, and then also the solutions, and give them a solution, and then summarize what you're giving them, okay? Now, so always make a case for the product, okay? So you want to identify if the client has a personal history of cancer, family, friends, things like that. Like I said before, so everybody on this call, I guarantee, knows somebody that's had cancer or knows of somebody, or it's been personally or whatnot, right? So there is a connection amongst all folks out there that know somebody that's had cancer. So I had an agent in Texas, actually, who started doing this a little while back, and he just said, okay, when I go in and I do my needs analysis, I'll go in, and he's like, I just start talking to him. You do your warm up, just like everybody does. Then he said, I'll ask him the question, hey, do you know anybody, or have you ever, anybody that's ever had cancer? And he just makes a note of it, because usually they're like, oh yeah, my dad had it, or my friend had it, or my aunt had it, or whatever else, right? He'll just make a note of it. He doesn't go, hey, well, I got a product for you. He doesn't sell it right then. Okay, just make note of that. You go ahead with your normal spiel, what you're there to talk about. Say it's a med sup. You're there talking about med sup. You go through your whole med sup presentation. You sell them med sup. You finish the sale. It's done, right? Well, when you're buttoning up the sale and before you leave, you always ask him, you say, hey, by the way, you mentioned your dad had cancer. Yeah, is that a concern for you? It is. Okay, well, do you have cancer insurance? That's all you got to do to bring it up. It's like a 5 or 10 minutes pitch. And I mean, the thing is that a lot of normal folks that aren't in the insurance world don't know there's cancer plans out there. They don't even know what they entail, right? Insurance is kind of foreign to them. So you want to bring it up, and you want to always ask the question, right? So if you don't ask the question, you're not going to get the sale, right? This is a good way to help offset maybe lead costs for you, because the commissions are very, very good. We're actually the highest in the industry right now with our commissions compared to our competition. But it can help offset lead costs. It can help, you can almost double your income just by adding this product on. We see about a 25 to 27% add-on rate. So 1 out of 4 people tend to buy it. So pretty good odds there. But again, you have to bring it up. Another thing people don't realize is that 54% of all cancer costs are non-medical. 54%. People are like, well, how is that? Well, what 54% is non-medical? Your med sup, right, does not cover. It doesn't cover travel, right? It doesn't cover food. It doesn't cover hotel costs. It doesn't cover if you have to board your pet, or childcare if you have a person that has children in the home. All these different costs, right, are non-medical. What if you're working and you have to take off time from work? Okay, you might have a disability plan, short-term disability, long-term disability. That's fine. Still doesn't pay 100% of what your paycheck was, though. It pays up 60 to 70% of your paycheck, right? Well, where's that? How are you going to cover that lost income? These types of plans can help cover some of those gaps for a period of time to help those folks out, okay? Again, ask the questions. Do you have cancer insurance? People are going to be like, I guarantee probably 95% of the people you talk to would be like, no. Okay. Now, or you could proposition it this way. Who's your cancer insurance with? If they say, oh, I don't have cancer insurance, you don't have cancer insurance. Well, let's talk about that. And you talk about it, right? Like I said, it's not this big, long, hour-long spiel. It's a 5 or 10-minute discussion about how the cancer product works. Hey, you pick a benefit amount. If you get diagnosed with cancer, it pays you a lump sum amount, and it can help you cover with these different costs. It's real easy to talk about, okay? If they do say, actually, I do have cancer insurance. Oh, okay, well, who's it with, right? You're showing your value as an agent because you're going to do a policy review with them. Why would you want to do that? Well, the reason is because here's the thing. Some of the other cancer policies out there, they might be perfect for them. They might be great, and they have good coverage and everything else. Great, leave them alone. You just got to tell them, hey, that's great. You have good coverage, and you don't need to change it. Okay, you're in good shape. They'll appreciate that. Let's say they have one of these old policies, right, that they might only have $3,000 of coverage, but it's costing them $50 a month. You could get them a whole lot more money or a whole lot more benefit on our plan than that $3,000 plan for $50 a month. Okay. The other thing is that some of the old cancer policies too, they'll say, hey, we'll cover A, B, and C cancer, but we're not going to cover X, Y, and Z cancer. Okay. So those are things you want to look for and just look at the policy and see if it's a good policy for their client. Some clients also might have a cancer, they call a cancer treatment plan. That's where it pays out on a schedule of benefits. It's kind of hard to follow, and you got to keep up with all of your EOBs and all your claims and say, oh, well, I had treatment for these 3 days, so you owe me for that, and I had this. And it can get really confusing and hard for the clients to follow. So these are good because they're easy to sell because they are just, here you go. You got cancer, here's a big check. Okay. Now, where are some other opportunities to sell? So people always ask, okay, well, this is great, but the common misconception is, well, they have a Medicare supplement. Medicare supplements cover everything. Well, that's not true, right? Med subs don't cover everything. There's still gaps. Med subs don't cover prescription costs. Okay. So as you all know, prescription costs through Part D can get very, very expensive, especially chemo drugs. Okay. So it can help cover some of those costs. Monthly bills, child, animal care. Almost a ton of seniors that out there, if they're single, even if they're not single, a lot of them have pets. Well, if you get diagnosed with cancer and you get inpatient hospital, some of them don't have family that can watch their animal, right? They have to board that animal. That can cost up to $50 per day. So can get very expensive. Again, travel expenses. I bring up the travel expenses again because, a lot of people want to go see a particular doctor for their particular type of cancer, right? It's just human nature. If you're like, oh, I have this type of cancer, the best person for that type of cancer is in MD Anderson in Houston. I want to go there. Okay, well, I don't live there, so I'd have to fly there. I'd have to stay in a hotel there. I'd have to have food and all that. Well, how am I going to afford that? It gets very expensive very quickly, right? I put clothing on here. This came from another agent when I did this presentation. He's like, why don't you have clothing on there? I'm like, what are you talking about? And he was a bigger gentleman, and he said, well, he's like, you can tell I'm a bigger man. I'm like, yeah. And he's like, well, I actually had cancer like 15 years ago. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, I was a bigger man then, but when I went through all my chemo and everything, he's like, I actually lost a ton of weight. He's like, as you can see, I've gained it all back. But he's like, I lost a ton of weight. And he's like, none of my clothes fit. I had to go out and buy all new pants and everything, shirts and so on and so forth. He's like, and it's pretty expensive. People, you don't realize these costs. He's like, so you should put that on there. So I started putting it on here and just talking about it. So, and then lost wages, again, as I mentioned, with the if someone gets them in the hospital and they're still working, then they're going to have some lost wages. So you're going to have to help offset those wages a little bit. And again, it goes back to the fact that 54% of those cancer costs are non-medical related. And again, experimental therapy experimental therapy is not covered by Medicare. Therefore, it's not covered by Medicare. Your Medicare supplement is not going to cover experimental therapy. That's a big one. It's becoming more and more prevalent just because everybody nowadays is like, oh, well, hey, we have this experimental drug and it works on 90% of people that have your type of cancer. You want to try it? You're going to be like, 90%, that's pretty good odds. Yeah, let's do it. Thing is, you don't realize that it's not covered by your insurance. So now for an MAPD, this is another big one. Okay, so there are gaps within MAPDs, as you may know. So all MAPDs have a 20% cost share in chemotherapy. That's just part of the MAPD world. So that is a pretty expensive chunk of money. Okay, max out-of-pocket exposure. So your max out-of-pocket exposure, say you get diagnosed in August, you're probably going to hit your max out-of-pocket by end of year, right? Well, what happens in January? That starts back over. Okay, so a lot of MAPDs nowadays have max out-of-pockets from $4,000 to $6,700, but more and more going to that $6,700 mark. Well, what happens is within a 9-10 month period, you could actually be out of up to $13,400 if you hit your max out of pocket, like I said, the end of this year and then the first of next year, right? So a lot of people don't have $13,000 just sitting in their bank account. Okay, it can help with the out-of-network cost if you choose to go elsewhere. So, like I said before, a lot of people want to go see a particular type of doctor for cancer treatment. Well, what happens is, what if they're not in your PPO network or your HMO network? If you go out of network on an HMO, you have no coverage at all. If you go out of a PPO network, you have charges that are going to be higher than if you were in network. So those out of network charges are going to be higher. So this can help offset those costs. The other nice thing about this product, it is considered a health product, so you can sell it at the same time as an MAPD, as long as your scope of appointment is filled out correctly. Okay. So some opportunities. Again, you must ask the question, do you want fries with that? Okay. Do you have cancer insurance? That's all you have to ask. It's going to raise some questions. Like I said, if they say no, you can go, oh, you don't have cancer insurance? Well, is it a concern for you? Is cancer a concern for you? Yes or no? If they say yes, like I said, 1 out of 4 people tend to buy this product. Okay. Keep it simple. Okay. Do not make it real complicated. If you start throwing out 15 different writers and all the different options and all that, it's going to scare people away. The most common benefit amounts we see is $10,000, $15,000, or $20,000. Okay, so you can be like, here's a gold, silver, and platinum choices. Which one would you like to choose, right? Have the reoccurrence rider on there and maybe one or two of the riders on there, something like that. But don't overcomplicate it. Make it very, very simple, okay? The premium is affordable. Like I said before, a 65 to 69-year-old $10,000 policy with us is $26.49, okay? You add the reoccurrence rider, that's another $1.60 a month. It's real simple, okay? Underwriting is reasonable. When I say underwriting, there's only 3 health questions on our application for the cancer, okay? So if you're doing the policy, the questions are, do you have HIV or AIDS, okay? In the last 5 years, we only do a 5-year look back. In the last 5 years, have you been diagnosed with cancer? And then it asks the question, the last 2 years, have you been advised by a physician to get a diagnostic test to rule out cancer and you have not done so? That's it, okay? Now, if you add on some of the other riders, like if you add on the heart and stroke, it will ask you a couple questions about heart and stroke or the specified disease. It'll ask you a couple questions about that. But if you're just doing the cancer, it has those 3 questions. It's real simple, okay? And again, it's only a 5-year look back, okay? And again, the commission is worth it. You add these products on out of 1 out of every 4 people, you make a good chunk of change. And like I said, offset your lead costs and things like that. And just, it can, I mean, the gentleman I spoke about in Texas that started doing this, he made an extra $40,000 just by asking the question, do you have cancer insurance? He already has the leads. He already has the clients, right? He just has to ask the question. If you already have a book of business and you already have a bunch of clients, but you haven't been selling this product, just start calling your clients, especially in today's time, right? You can sell these things easily over the phone if you can't go to their homes or whatever else, if you're a little slow, just because people don't want to come to your home or it's been hard trying to sell additional things over the phone. Go to your original block of business and just start calling and be like, hey, by the way, Mary, I meant to ask you and bring this up to you, but I have a product I want to discuss with you and just see if you're interested. You know, do you have cancer insurance currently? No. What is that? Okay. Just ask the questions. Like I said, if you already have a block of business, say you have 100 people in your block of business, if you get 25 sales on this product, that's thousands of dollars. So it's just something to think about. So riding with us. So we have online contracting. So obviously you would want to contact Senior Insurance Marketing, that they get you hooked up. We have an agent portal I'm going to show you real quick. We have a bunch of different technology that I'm going to show you as well, which I'll show you actually right now. So here's our portal. So you'll log in. We have bulletins and stuff, different things. There's an application tracker, which I'm going to talk about in just a second. Here's your library. So in your library, it has all your different forms. Okay. So you can go in here and be like, oh, I want to know about forms, product line. Here's our products. Here's your lump sum cancer. You have all your appropriate forms. So if you go, let's just say Georgia, here's your application. Here's your underwriting guidelines. Okay. So on and so forth. It's real simple, real easy to get around. Okay. Now, besides that, we will do e-app. We do have e-app, which I'm going to show you briefly. Email, you can fax or mail applications. You have preferred and standard rates. That's for MedSup. Applications, that's for MedSup as well. Standard turnaround time, actually right now it's about 1 to 2 days. So it's much faster than 3 to 5 currently. And then we have underwriting guidelines available and things like that, so you can actually pre-qualify your clients if you need to. If you do have to do phone interviews, okay, on our cancer product, if you're over $30,000, or depending on how much additional riders and things you add on, it'll potentially kick up a phone interview that you're going to have to do. So you just be aware of that. Or something shows up, you marked all the questions no, but a drug or something on the declinable drug list pops up, things like that. It's easy to, it'll usually kick over a phone interview. So just FYI. Is what our application tracker looks like. Let me actually show you. It's right here. So when I showed you before on the home screen, this application tracker right here, you enter your agent number and you can see any requirements that are that you need to do, anything that's in underwriting, if there's any actions that need to be due, anything that's been declined, issued, whatever, you can see all that information in there, okay? It's pretty cool. So our head underwriter actually came up with this when he ordered a pizza, because they have the pizza tracker. So he thought this would be a nice little touch. So it's pretty cool, actually. But it shows you if you submitted an application in here, if it's completed and you're good. Now, if you missed something, say, for instance, you didn't do an appropriate form or something didn't get filled out, it'll tell you if it's needed. They'll then tell you where it's at in the underwriting process as you go through, like if it did order prescriptions, if a telephone thing was done, if there's medical records that are needed, which on the cancer product usually underwriting decision. Then if it gets approved, it's going to show your approval date and just information when it's going to be drafted, so on and so forth. Now, this says print ID card. This is for a Medicare supplement. Obviously, for the lump sum cancer, they do not get an ID card, so just FYI. Okay. Now, another nice thing is we have in the application tracker right underneath where this is, okay, right underneath where it shows you where it's at in the process, it shows you this box down here. Now, why that's important is because they're on a drug and they're taking it, but it's not for what that drug specifically stated, but it's on a declinable drug list. You're like, oh, well, I have a doctor's note that states, you know, I don't know. One of the most common ones we run into is it's a Parkinson's disease drug that is used for restless leg syndrome. Not saying that's, I don't even know if that's on the declinable drug list for, it wouldn't be on the declinable drug list for the cancer product, but I'm just using this as an example. If you have that doctor's note, you can just click and drag it in here, type in any comments and submit it. It goes straight to the underwriter. It's not something you have to fax or email securely and got it and you can get it. You can just do it all from our web portal. Makes it real easy, secure, and done, right? It's real simple for you to get us information and get it to the appropriate party and not have to wait on it. So it's just a nice touch. So our e-app, okay, let me show you what our e-app looks like. So I already started it. So your e-app is up here in the top right corner when you're in the portal, okay? You just go to e-app, you hit online application, you put in your information, boom, 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 test, okay? Shows you where you're at in the progress on the right-hand side. Hit next. I hope it's not going to log me out because I had this open for a little while. Oh, Corey, I don't know. Why is it not pulling up? Sorry, buddy. Okay, that's great. Do something else. Yeah, it's locked up right here. Let me refresh this real quick. Let's say it's Georgia, do mail, date of birth. Just use that one. Effective date. Application date today. No, we'll do test. Sorry about that, folks. Hopefully that works. It's a bit of a flow today. Corey, you know why this might not be pulling up, buddy?
Because it's Tuesday, Ryan. I apologize. We could troubleshoot, but there is a screenshot in the PowerPoint deck that shows that products and rates page.
Okay. All right. So it's right here, folks. Sorry about that, but it will show all your products. You can toggle between MedSup and all products. You'll be able to see the sales brochure. You'll be able to see the underwriting or field agent guidelines on how we do business, underwriting guidelines if you want to. You can make all your selections. It's going to show you over here on the right the person's name, their age, tobacco, yes or no. You know, if there is a MedSup, or I'm sorry, if there is they'll say, you know, cancer policy. If there is a policy fee on the cancer policy, there is not a policy fee, FYI. What their initial premium payment will be, their monthly premium, things like that. Okay, so it makes it real nice. Keeps it all in one spot. One thing I will show you that you can see, I'm not sure why this isn't working, but you can toggle around through all these different sections. Okay. And you can see, like, the health questions, and then you can see payment and billing. One nice thing with ours is that with the payment and billing, you can actually do credit card for initial payment. You can also do credit card for reoccurring payment, which we're one of the few companies that will do that. Things like that. So just real easy. We currently use DocuSign right now for our signature process. We're working to update that, but right now that's the process we use. So, and moving on, here is our agent incentives. So we do actually offer these agent incentives, and we give $50 per person per app once you write 5. So on ancillary business. So any ancillary business you write, once you hit 5, we'll give you $50 per app on top of your normal commission. So it's pretty nice. It adds, pretty decent amount of extra money to your pocket if you write a decent amount of business. So, and then here's some important contact information for you. So it has anywhere from our agent support team, new contracts, general business, underwriting, and policyholder services. Okay, so that you guys can utilize that. And that is that. Here, there's my contact information and Corey Jones's contact information. If you guys have any questions, or if you guys have any want to discuss anything with us about any of our other products or things like that, please feel free to reach out to us. We appreciate your time, and we thank you very much.
Thank you, Ryan and Corey. Really appreciate it. And if you have any questions on the Bankers Fidelity cancer product, also feel free to give us a call here at Senior Insurance Marketing. Our number is 877-800-3080, and we'd be happy to help you out with that product. And also, if you're not contracted with Bankers Fidelity, I encourage you to do so, and we can help you get contracted as well with Bankers Fidelity. I don't see any questions that we have here. But again, give us a call here at Senior Insurance Marketing. We're here to help you grow your business. And again, thanks, Ryan and Corey, for the webinar today. Really appreciate it. And it's a great cancer product. And again, who do you know that has had cancer or has cancer? And I know I can think of like 10 people right off the bat. So it's a great plan. Thanks again, Ryan, Corey. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, I appreciate it, buddy.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Good day.
You too.
All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.